Bonjour. In this lesson we're going to look at two things. The use of c'est versus the use of il est and French descriptive adjectives. Let's start with c'est versus il est. The c'est part, you see c'est can be used with a noun, or you can also use ce sont with a noun. The difference is this: you use c'est with a singular noun and you use ce sont with a plural noun. So what I want you to remember is c'est used with a noun, because the contrast is that you use il est with an adjective. Okay? So for instance, il est grand, he's tall. Elle est grande, ils sont grands, elles sont grandes. And because I'm saying adjectives, I have to worry about the agreement of that adjective with the subject, feminine, plural, for instance. The minute, again, you hear the word adjective, you have to think in your mind agreement in gender and number of that adjective, here agreeing with the subject. Now, when it comes to nationality, profession, national origin, or religion, here's what happens. If you use c'est, for instance, as in c'est un étudiant, or if you use il est étudiant, you're basically saying the same thing. He is a student. The difference is this here. Here with c'est, I am using a noun. With il est, I know this is the same word, but this is considered to be an adjective. So you're still following the same rule that we've seen before, which is use c'est with a noun and use il est or ils sont with an adjective. All right. There is one important exception to this rule, which is c'est with a noun, il est with an adjective. And the rule, that exception is that you use c'est with an adjective if that adjective is masculine singular, nothing but masculine singular, and also if this represents a general idea. For instance, if you say le français c'est fantastique, you're saying French, it's fantastic. In that case, you're talking about French in a general way. It's a general idea, so you can use c'est with a masculine singular adjective. No other form of the adjective. All right? Contrast these two sentences, for instance. J'étudie le français, I study French. C'est intéressant, it's interesting. J'écoute le professeur, j'écoute le prof, short. Il est intéressant. You see the difference? In this case, this is a general idea, the c'est with the adjective. Here, I'm referring to somebody very specifically. I'm referring to le prof. C'est intéressant, general idea. Il est intéressant, he is interesting. For the second part of this lesson, we have descriptive adjectives. All right? Descriptive adjectives, as the name indicates, are used to describe. All right. Very important again. Always show the agreement in gender and number of the adjective with the noun it modifies. Always, always, always. For instance, I've taken a typical French adjective here. In a singular, in a plural, masculine and feminine. If you start from the masculine singular, you make that masculine singular adjective feminine singular by adding an e. If you want to make the masculine singular adjective masculine plural, add an s. And if you want to make that masculine singular adjective feminine plural, add an e for the feminine and an s for the plural. Obviously, there are going to be exceptions. There are lists of adjectives that do not follow this simple pattern. They're available in your text files, and I suggest that you study those very carefully. What is the usual position of the adjective? The position is to be after the noun it modifies. Okay, for instance, you see un livre cher. That is the rule in French. And you've got to be careful about this, because in English the tendency is to put the adjectives in front of the noun. All right. Here again I say exceptions. See, for instance, there's un beau livre, a beautiful book, which tells you that there are some adjectives in French that can be placed in front of the noun they modify. Again, there is a list for these. I suggest that you study them very carefully. There's also a list of adjectives that can be placed either in front of the noun or after the noun, and depending on the position they have in comparison to the noun, their meaning will change.